In a diverse society and as human beings, we tend to create stereotypes and sometimes even discriminate people for their race, gender, physical appearance, etc. We unintentionally group people based on certain characteristics that they possess. One of these characteristics is age. The prejudice or discrimination on the basis of a person's age is called ageism. The term ageism was coined in 1969 by Robert Neil Butler, the first director of the National Institute on Aging. Robert dedicated most of his life fighting age discrimination and many other problems that older people face. You may not give it much thought, but ageism was a serious issue around the world that many older people experience. A possible reason for the awareness of ageism is because older people face subtle discriminations such as disrespect, being ignored, or patronized more often than blatant discriminations such as insults or abuse. Ageism, like many other issues, exists on 4 different levels. Levels of existence are seen as known in sociology. The 4 different levels are personal, interpersonal, institutional, and cultural. Each plays a role in another. Let's start off with ageism on a personal level. Out of the 4 levels, values, beliefs, and feelings are held on a personal level. On the issue of ageism, a person who automatically sees and assumes older people to be fragile, ill, helpless, or unfit for work, or other assumptions associated with older people, would be considered ageist on a personal level. There is, however, no discriminatory behavior at this point, only belief and opinion. Having a strong personal view on the issue of ageism, or any issue in that case, often leads the issue to exist on an interpersonal level. This is where actions, behaviors, and language take place. At this point, discriminatory actions and behavior towards an older person are observed. The actions are not necessarily extreme, but are offensive to many who experience the effects. For example, speaking louder to older people because you think that they have bad hearing, or trying to help out older people with simple tasks because you think they are weak, would fall on an interpersonal level of ageism. On an institutional level of ageism, rules, policies, and procedures are put in place to extend or limit rights of older people. There are currently laws in the workplace to protect older people from age discrimination. For example, the Age Discrimination Act of 1975, enforced by the Civil Rights Center, prohibits discrimination on the basis of a person's age in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. The ADEA also states that it is unlawful for an employer to, quote, to fail or refuse to hire or to discharge any individual or otherwise discriminate against any individual with respect to his compensation, terms, conditions, or privileges of employment because of such individual's age. Despite the fact that these laws are put into place to protect older people, the employers are the ones responsible for following these regulations. The only problem with that is that many don't. There are countless cases of older people getting fired from their workplace, and the employers are denying that age is the factor. Based on the Department of Work and Pension, little evidence was found to suggest that older workers' productivity declines with age. Nevertheless, there's clear evidence that many employers across different countries do believe that older workers' productivity does decline. This is an example of a strong personal and interpersonal reasoning and decision-making on the issue of ageism, which affects individuals and institutions and the workplace. Medical institutions are also ageist when it comes to older people. It has been reported in many cases that older people do not get equal treatment at hospitals and clinics that the younger people do. Perhaps not so much in the United States, but in the UK, many older people's medical needs are not seriously taken when it comes to health. Healthcare professionals often make assumptions about their older patients based on age rather than on functional status. In the United States, there is a lack of doctors trained for the needs of the elderly, or geriatric doctors. Only 10% of medical schools require work in geriatric medicine. As much as we may want to believe that we care about older people's medical welfare, a simple look at the numbers shows otherwise. Culturally, countries view older people differently. Commonly in Japan, among other Asian countries, older people are seen as wise and experienced in life. They are generally well respected and hold a positive status in their society. In other countries, however, like the United States, United Kingdom, France, and many European countries, older people are not seen in that way. Instead, they are dismissed as people without much value. Based on collected data from surveys, older people in Turkey claim to experience very little to no ageism. However, based on the same data, France and Romania are on the top of the charts when it comes to the seriousness of ageism. It's also interesting to take a look at how different countries view age on different levels. For example, out of the nearly 55,000 people surveyed across 28 different countries in Europe, interesting information has been gathered. When being asked at what age is the end of youth, people in Greece on average said 51 to 52. When asking the same question in Norway, the average age of when one reaches the end of youth is considered 33 to 34. The difference is quite fascinating. When being asked at what age a person becomes old, people in Greece said 68 on average. However, people surveyed in Turkey said that 55 was the beginning of old age. The way age is perceived varies from country to country, from culture to culture. Everyone will grow old one day, if they will be lucky enough to get that far. You must understand that old people once used to be young just like you, and that you too will become old like them. Old people should not be discriminated against, but rather be shown respect. People do not come with an expiration date, and they shouldn't be treated like an outdated object.